Hey y'all, T-Ham141 here. Today we are talking about the 10 things that I think are very important for you to look for when buying land or looking at land to buy for your homestead. So stay tuned. Some of them I think you're going to find are a little surprising, and there's some bonuses at the end. All right, our top 10 list is going to start with number 10, the countdown to number 1. I'm pretty sure number 2 is really going to surprise you. But number 10, use. When you're looking for land, you have to take into account what you're going to use it for. Um, are you going to do cattle? Are you going to do chickens? Are you going to do goats? The last thing you want to do is buy a woodlot to raise cattle on. Cattle need pasture. So, what are you going to use it for? Are you going to be on grid? Are you going to be off grid? These are different things that you need to think about before looking at land. These type of things are going to dictate the type of land that will be better suited for you. Okay, number 9. Number 9 is access. We chose to live on a seasonal road. This causes the need for different adjustments to be made on our part. I have to plow that part of the seasonal road, but it's part of our privacy. I don't want to live on a highway. I don't know who would, but when we bought our land, we could drive right in. There was an old logging trail. We could drive right in on it. It was a little muddy, no big deal, because unbeknownst to us, one of the first things the loggers do when they make a logging trail in is they get all the muck and mud off the top and get down to more of a hard pan surface. So I was able to drive right in. It was a little hard on the truck. It was a little hard on me, but we managed to do it. Later on, however, as you will see up here in the corner, we ended up running into a problem with Tug Hill clay. In Port Leyden, we did not have problems like this. It was just non-existent because you got rid of the trees, got rid of the stumps, filled it back in. It was all sand base. You could drive in, drive out all day long. You weren't going to have a problem. Tug Hill is a totally different animal with the Tug Hill clay. We even got the four-wheeler stuck a bunch of times. Um, I plow. I plow a good portion, well, probably about 2,000 feet of the seasonal road. But I still leave a gift for the town snowplow guys. Every Christmas they get at least a package of cookies and thanking them for pushing their piles off to the side. This is also a snowmobile trail out here in the winter. And that I have a tire right now on my car that tends to lose a little bit of air. And I'm thinking I might just have a problem with a snowmobile stud stuck in the tire somewhere. I need to get that checked out. Um, but access to your land. You don't want to have to go over someone else's land to get to yours. The people who bought the land behind us shortly after we moved here have to cross about 10 feet of our land on their driveway. Now, that is not a deeded right of way. They're very lucky. They have a nice neighbor who doesn't really care. They leave me alone, I leave them alone, and it's but I mean, you get the wrong guy and he put a fence across your driveway, and next thing you know, you can't get into your land. So make sure that you have access to your land and that it's good. Make sure you know whether or not you're going to have to ship in. I don't know how many loads. I'm going to say we've had at least 20 loads of gravel brought in to do our driveway. And it's not easy. So make sure that the land is suitable for the uses and how you want to homestead. Make sure that you have access to your land, free and clear. Number 8 on our countdown today, structures. Do you want to look for land that's already got a farmhouse and a barn on it? That's great, but that really racks up the price, especially if it's a nice house and a nice barn. Or are you willing to carve it out of the woods? We bought a 20-acre woodlot and we literally carved out of the woods our land. It was an amazing feat. It was really fun. About 2 or 3 acres that we've cleared so far, getting ready for a barn now, working on that. And you want to make sure that if it has structures on it, that they're sound structures. You don't want that old barn that's fallen down that's dangerous, so when the grandkids come over and play, or do you they're going to get hurt, to cut it out of the land or build yourself. I prefer to build your own. That way you can get it to your specifications. All right, number 7, the terrain. There are many different types of terrain. There's woody, I was watching a video this morning where a young lady was talking about how they have to they live basically in the plains of the Midwest, and they have to truck in their firewood. And it's all pine. Personally, I wouldn't burn pine, but I'm in the Northeast where we have a lot of hardwoods that we can burn. Starry Hilder. If you watch some of her earlier videos, when she was with Mr. Hilder, they were living on the side of a mountain, and they carved out their they literally carved out their garden from the side of a mountain, and their house was right up against the side of the mountain. These are things you need to take into account. Do you want to have a big garden? We have a bumpy yet fairly flat piece of swampland. Once we bought the land, we found out that the road used to be called Swamp Road. Uh, and that was kind of funny to us because we kept calling it, we kept saying, boy, oh boy, in the spring, this is awful swampy. But we were very, very lucky, and when we chose where to put the house, we wanted it back in the woods. We wanted it around where if I want to do my chores in my underoos, I can do that, and if somebody is offended, they're trespassing, except for Wendy, and I've never asked her if she'd be offended. Anyway, I digress. But we have a very bumpy yet swampy flat area, so that it's relatively easy. The hardest part is removing the tree stumps, because everything else I can do myself. But some of these tree stumps are in there, and the leveling of the ground I have to hire. So take your terrain into consideration. We do not have a hill, and our water table is awfully high most of the year. And so I will have, when we go to put in a root cellar, which we've always wanted, I am going to have some challenges in doing the root cellar because digging down, I don't have any hills to build it into the side of. So yes, your terrain is very important. Number 6, Uncle Sam's got to have his due, people. Local and state laws. Some states mandate that your utilities be hooked to your house, whether you use them or not. I'm thinking of, I believe it was the state of Florida, the county made an off-grid homesteader hook up power lines to their house in order to stay there. That's ridiculous. Who do you think you are, trying to tell people that they have to buy something from someone else? That's wrong. It's unconstitutional. Okay, off my soapbox. But you need to know that kind of stuff. Your local and state laws will dictate whether you can collect rainwater. Okay, that's ridiculous to me. It's like they own the rainwater or something, or there's something wrong with the rainwater that's going to hurt you. Remember, acid rain was going to kill us all? That was shortly before plastic bags were going to kill us all. Oh wait, it was even before paper bags were going to kill us all, so we had to go to plastic bags. But I digress again. Are animals okay? Um, Agriculture. Some places consider having a garden agriculture, and they don't allow it. Um, so be careful. Know your local and state laws, what you can and can't do. At the very least, you will be able to know what rules you are breaking or bending. The local government. This is very important. Get a feel for the local government. Show up at a couple town meetings just to listen in and find out what they're thinking and the way they are. I remember when we moved in here, there was a really big deal with an Amish couple. Just well, they're on the hill here with us. That they got a building permit, but they had an issue because they were building a house on a seasonal road, and that meant that the town that would bring it up to the law, the limit where the town had to invest all sorts of money in widening and refining that country road, that seasonal road. They had to have a snowplow turnaround, all that other stuff. Whereas I don't want a regular paved road. I like my seasonal road. I like my snowmobilers going by. They're very courteous for the most part. I like taking care of the snow that falls on our road. I like the privacy it affords me. I don't have to listen to hot rods and motorcycles driving by all the time, revving their engines. When you find out that you have a nice laid back local government, it will really help you. Now, they're not going to let me break the law, but they're not hassling me either for anything, which I try to stay off their radar. I don't want to cause them any problems. They don't want to cause me any problems. So it kind of works out. Number 4 of the top 10 things you're look for when you're buying land. Are you going to be on or off grid? This is important. If you're going to be on the grid, are utilities relatively easy to get to? I've got about 5,000 feet of road frontage before the first telephone pole, the nearest telephone pole to my land. That would cost me thousands of dollars to have electricity run here. I don't want that. Septic, water, all that. It's just public utilities are not for me. And I knew that going in. Is wind an option on that particular property? What are you thinking of your off-grid situation? What is your off-grid vision? What vision do you have for your off-grid situation? Are you going to have wind? Are you going to have solar, hydro, whatever? These things will all influence your decision on what to do for land. Number 3, this one might surprise you. Neighbors. This doesn't make it on a lot of top 10 lists, but let me tell you, it's important. We right now have some great neighbors. We see them once in a while. They drive by when we're coming up the road or taking a walk or something, and we wave, and it's all great and wonderful. But they can make or break your adventure. When we lived in the village of Port Leyden, we had 2/3 of an acre. We gardened. We liked to spend a lot of time outside. We were homesteading in the village of Port Leyden. That's the only thing you can call it, is homesteading in the village of Port Leyden. And there was a neighbor behind us that when he would leave, his house, he would open his windows and crank his radio. It's not that I don't like music, but there's times I like peace and quiet too. And so he would do this, and it caused a confrontation, which didn't go anywhere. It was just an annoyance to me. Do you want? Are your neighbors going to be close enough where they can see you and say hi every time you walk out of your house? Guys, this will surprise you, but it will drive me crazy when every time I step out in my yard, hey, how you doing, neighbor? The friendliest, kindest, most gentle, friendly greeting ever. He totally meaning to be nice will drive you absolutely batty if you can't even step out your door without it. And so, hey, neighbors, that's number 3. They can make you or break you. I've got neighbors that I don't even know that I've met once or twice that said, hey, if you ever need heavy equipment, we got a farm, we'll come down and help you out, There was a tree that blew down across the road earlier this fall. And by the time I made it down there, there were already 2 of my neighbors working on getting rid of that tree, just because they liked the convenience of using the road. They were cutting it and getting it out of the way. We actually had a great time talking and getting to know one another a little bit better while we were taking care of the tree. It's a good community because they don't push themselves on you. Does that make sense? They're really, really bad. Now, another surprise. Number 2, cell service. And this is for those of you who are going to go off grid, but yet you need to be connected to the outside world. Trust me, you need to be connected to the outside world in some way, in some fashion, on your terms. Because you want to know whether the state is making you stay on your land for 150 days because of a quarantine or if you're doing it of your own volition. Sorry. But cell service, especially off grid. Guys, right now, I am recording this on my laptop, which is running internet from a hotspot from my other laptop that my wife is watching friendly TV on, and that has got a cell phone modem thing plugged into it that goes to the tower that is up on the hill. Our Verizon phones do not work on our land. They just don't. There is no signal. AT&T has a tower right up the road I just mentioned, up on the hill. And it's wonderful. We have internet. We have Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, all this stuff so that we're connected. We're not going crazy. Wendy hasn't killed me yet, which is a surprise. I told you there'd be surprises. And the number 1, all time, most needed, in Tracy's opinion, water. You can't live without it. Your animals can't live without it. Your garden can't live without it. Guys, are you planning on doing hydro? You need a pretty decent little stream. A well. What are the neighbors' wells doing? Our well goes 16 feet. And in the winter, we have all the water we'll ever need. However, in the dog days of summer, she dries right up. Not a very good situation. I have had to haul water, but I've learned to store water in the spring when it gets where the water won't freeze and burst the totes. I have 300-gallon totes that I fill with water, and we run from those. Are the bodies of water on your property protected? Can you do anything with them? We lucked out and don't have any bodies of water. We dug a pond. When we first got on the land, I said, I want to see how the water is here. So we dug a pond and it filled right up. Stayed full all year. Next year, all year. We were in the camper here, working on the land all summer long. And then we got into the house and dog days of summer hit. We had one of the wettest summers when we were building this house. I'll post some pictures. I'll try to get one up here of water just pouring out after we put the floor on and the insulation on, but it was a mess. It was a nightmare. So there you go, the top 10 things you need to look for when buying land. All right, the bonus, the what you've all been waiting for. Guys, for pity's sake, build your buildings with a sloped roof that it will shed whatever precipitation you get. If you build a flat roof in New York, you will be shoveling. In upstate New York, you will be shoveling. As you get older, that's less and less appealing, unless you have kids, then it'd be great. But build your buildings with a pitch that is going to shed snow. I prefer sheet metal over shingles. Why? Number one, the sheet metal doesn't wear out quite as quick. Number two, it sheds snow very easily. The best excuse that you can use for not getting on your roof to shovel it is, I'll slip and break my neck. Honey, do you want me to break my neck? And the answer they give, whether it's what they're thinking or not, is no, dear, I don't want you to break your neck. So when you're building, take your climate into account. It will save you a lot of headaches. I am wishing I had moved my woodshed back just a little bit more, just a few steps more from my house, because it would make it so much easier to plow between the house and the woodshed. I am very happy that I left that space. But anyway, so build for your climate. Make sure your roofs, if you're in a snowy area, will shed snow. And it will save you hours and hours of fun shoveling the roofs. Check out that video right up here and you will see. Hey guys, if you got any value out of today's video, like and subscribe. Keep coming back so that we can help you avoid some of the mistakes that we've made and learn as we've learned. If you can learn from someone else, then that will save you an awful lot of trouble. So like and subscribe. We'll catch you later. God bless. T-Ham 141. We out.